The school that I went to was very militaristic. It was essentially a military school. Um, it functions very much like posh private schools in like the UK. Private schools that are hella old because my school was founded in like 1953, and it was a school that
I see that was drilled in. If you know when your school was fucking founded, that's when you know
Yeah.
you're in the military. Just like we do, they drill things like that into you.
yeah, they drill all of that into you
Oh, bro,
because
thank
like
thank thank God I went to a boys' school after attending a couple of years of intergender
poet,
schools.
yeah.
Otherwise, I would have been out, yo, bro. They would have drilled that fucking propaganda in my head. Because the things I was experiencing when I got to a boys' school for the first time
Yeah.
seemed like a cult. Seemed like a hectic.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways, continue, bro.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. One thing that I always remember about going to that kind of school was that like one of the first things you accept is that like society, the rules out there don't apply here. This place has its own rules, its own culture, its own society. You follow these rules if you want to survive, you know. I think the first time I
Yeah.
learned this lesson was like I was 12. It had been like a week since we arrived at this school. It's a boarding school in the middle of nowhere, and being at the bottom of the pile puts a lot of pressure on you. And I remember my one friend,
Why were you at the bottom of the pile?
because you're the youngest, you guys just got here, which means that like what I wanted to
Yeah.
explain
Oh,
earlier was that teachers don't do punishments. Teachers teach. That's why they're here. The people who are in charge of discipline and shit are other students, but the older ones, you see. So it's a matter, that's how the hierarchy of
That's
respect
true.
goes, you
That's
see.
true.
So for us, what you had to understand was like when you're at the bottom, it means that you're at the bottom, dog. It doesn't matter what sport you play, you're always going to be at the bottom. You might get some extra respect, and it might come in handy, but for the most part, you're at the bottom. So when your parents give you a trunk full of like food and candy and shit, if a senior walks in and says, "Yo, I'm taking half this," he's taking half this. There's no discussion. But like I was saying, the first time I realized that the society out there doesn't apply in here, it had been first week, a lot of pressure to have things perfect. You get told, yo, sweeping needs to be perfect, dusting, everything needs to be perfect. The way you dress, you're doing your own laundry. You're 12, your mama's been doing all your laundry, washing your tidy whities. Now you're doing your own laundry and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? You know? And I remember this one time, one of my dorm mates came to me and he was mad because I think, my duty wasn't done or something. And he's like, yo, I need you to do your duty. And at that time, I'm fixing my locker because I know there's locker inspection today. So I'm fixing my locker and he's just in my ear and I lose it. I'm like, fuck you. And he freezes, dog. We both freeze because we've been raised in societies where it's like children can't swear. That is profanity. You can't be saying that shit. And I went to like
Blasphemous.
I went to Catholic schools since I was like, first grade. So for me, it was like, what the fuck did I just say? And this senior walks past and he stops him and he's like, hey, this guy just said fuck you to me. And you keep in mind, at this point, we're still scared of the seniors. So like I look at him kind of wide-eyed and terrified, like, oh no, what punishment do I get? And the senior, and these guys, because they want you to learn the respect, they're not doing much smiling with you at this point. This guy just turns to us, he smiles and he looks at him and he says, say fuck you back, and he walks away. And that was the moment I knew that this place is not like outside. The rules from outside do not apply here. You know what I'm saying? um,